Welcome to your Robbins Regional Wrap, your one-stop shop for all your Houston County news. I'm Megan Western. Each week we're taking you through what's happening across Houston County, Warner Robins, Robins Air Force Base, and your very own neighborhood. This week, a Warner Robins man is facing charges after a shooting in Hawkinsville. The GBI says they believe that two groups shot at each other on Jelk Street last Thursday. Investigators say they found 21-year-old Nicholas Adams and another man who was shot multiple times. That man was taken to the hospital. Adams was arrested. The GBI also is looking for 20-year-old David Walker of Hawkinsville and expects to make more arrests. Investigators don't know why the two groups shot at each other at this moment. And the Warner Robins Police Department is investigating multiple crashes involving one driver. A release says a Jeep Wrangler rammed into the front doors of the Truist Bank on Watson Boulevard before hitting another building at Emory Hospital. Investigators used flock cameras to track the vehicle to a gas station in Perry. That's where a man admitted to the crashes and was detained. We're still waiting to learn more about his charges. And staying in Perry, police say 10 juveniles are now charged after a string of car break-ins. Detectives linked the group to 27 car break-ins between late June and early August. The Perry Police Department says the group hit neighborhoods and apartment complexes all over town. Officers recovered 3 stolen guns, 8 cell phones, an iPad, and other property. The group also damaged 5 cars. Right now, one suspect faces a gang-related charge. The rest face charges ranging from property damage to theft. The police department is reminding residents to keep their cars locked and report suspicious activity. And an animal rescue in Houston County says it's losing its current location after the landlord would not renew their lease. Elizabeth Hunter talked with Paws in Middle Georgia volunteers to find out how they plan to continue saving lives.
We need to continue.
An unexpected relocation is forcing Paws in Middle Georgia to face a harsh reality.
It's excruciating to have to tell people no, we can't help, and we don't know what's going to happen to that animal.
Since 2021, the rescue says it has saved almost 900 animals. For the last 3.5 years, they have been located in Warner Robins, but they recently found out that would change.
We found out about a month or two ago that our landlord will not be renewing our lease.
President Jessica Gomez says the uncertainty has been hard. They currently have about 30 animals in-house, but Gomez says on December 31st, those animals will no longer have a safe space.
We're actively looking. We haven't found the perfect place yet. We're very hopeful we can get into a new place by December 31st. If not, we plan to go foster-based for just a short time.
Gomez says they need at least $30,000 for a down payment to buy a new location. So far, they have raised $8,000.
We would just like to stop renting altogether and own our own place, just to get a little more stability and room to expand.
Melissa Hansen has been a volunteer shift leader for over 3 years. She says they are accepting donations through their website, and the more volunteers they have to help with the move, the better.
These animals are so incredibly resilient and so loving. Some of them have seen the worst of people, the worst of life, but they just want to be held and loved and cuddled, so it restores you.
In Warner Robins, Elizabeth Hunter, 13 WMAZ News.
Now, Gomez says if they can't find a place by the end of the year, they'll have to move to a foster-based rescue. That means they would need a foster parent for each animal they have housed right now. You can make donations or find out information about volunteering at the website at the bottom of your screen or by searching for this story on 13WMAZ.com. It's being called a cruel scam, targeting families during the most vulnerable moments. Callers are posing as funeral home employees and demanding money over the phone. They often call just hours after grieving families make funeral arrangements. The Houston County coroner says it's happened there nearly a dozen times in the past year. Hunter King has more on how these scammers operate and how you can protect yourself.
Losing her cousin was devastating enough, but what happened next made her grief even worse.
And it wasn't 10 minutes after we left the funeral home. We get a phone call. They said that they were part of the funeral home and that they're calling to collect payment.
The caller claimed to be from the funeral home they just left. He demanded $2,000 immediately over the phone.
When we told him that we didn't have the $2,000, I was like, well, you can pay what you can.
Howard and a family member gave their credit card information. Within minutes, the scammers charged Howard $180 and her relative $200.
The money that got taken took from where I couldn't purchase the urn. So now I had to wait.
Houston County Coroner James Williams says this scheme has hit close to a dozen families in the past year.
The family's already going through one of the hardest things they've ever went through, and to have somebody call trying to scam them for money is absolutely heartbreaking.
Williams says the scammers get their information from obituaries posted online, then they use real funeral directors' names. He says legitimate funeral homes discuss payment face-to-face during arrangements, and they'll never call later demanding money.
None of our funeral homes in our area operate like that.
Howard says she expects to get her money back from her bank's fraud investigation. Her advice to other families:
But if you don't know for sure, just don't give it out.
Reporting in Houston County, Hunter King, 13 WMAZ News.
Now, Williams says the Houston County Sheriff's Office is investigating these scams. No arrests have been made so far. If you have any information, you can call the Sheriff's Office 478-543-2085. And a Warner Robins couple says a late night dinner at Denny's turned into a financial nightmare after a payment system glitch resulted in more than $400 additional in charges. Jasmine Lee spoke with the woman who says getting that money back has been an uphill battle.
This is the Denny's where a couple says a simple dinner turned into a financial headache. Now they're fighting not just for a refund, but for change, so other customers don't go through the same problem.
The first one was posted and deducted immediately.
For Pamela Sampolsky and her husband, a quick meal at Denny's came with a surprising price tag. What should have been a $50 meal turned into 6 transactions on their debit card and 2 more on a credit card.
We handed her our card, and then she said, "Oh, it looks like there's a problem on our end, not yours." So she had us run it again. Came up the same thing.
After their first card repeatedly declined at the register, staff asked them to try another. The second card went through, but when they got home, they checked their accounts and realized both had been charged. The same day, Sampolsky returned to the restaurant, but says she was met with denial and no help.
Denny's doesn't want to do anything about it. I feel ripped off. I feel angry. I feel like they don't want to take accountability, and they need to.
She says the situation caused financial stress and made her wonder how many others might be dealing with similar charges without even realizing it. Kelvin Collins, president and CEO of the Better Business Bureau, says credit cards are safer than debit cards and carry more consumer protections.
With credit cards, you have protections that are in place for you. And you do have those protections with debit cards as well, but with a debit card, someone's got a direct pipeline into your bank accounts.
Sampolsky's bank later told her it could take up to 30 days to investigate and reimburse all payments. Reporting in Warner Robins, Jasmine Lee, 13 WMAZ News.
Now, Jasmine reached out to the Denny's corporate office for comment. We have not heard back. Now, card reader errors happen more often than you may think, and that's why banks say the best defense is staying vigilant. You can check your statements often and report anything unusual right away. Most banks have fraud protection programs in place and will investigate suspicious activity themselves. And most accidental charges can often be reversed without any penalties. And right now, some people in Houston County are getting sticker shock from their water bills. The county commission voted in February to raise water rates, and the new rates took effect July 1st, and some customers are seeing big increases from that. Elizabeth Hunter talked with Houston County Public Works for an explanation.
I'm very irritated, to be honest.
A base pay increase from $9 to $14 doesn't seem like a whole lot, but the increase in Kim Schoning's water bill was much bigger than that.
Well, all of a sudden this past month, that went up almost $100.
Schoning says she has no idea why her bill jumped from around $35 in June to almost $135 in July.
I think that kind of increase is pretty drastic.
Schoning says she understands that they need an increase, but a notice beforehand would have been nice. Brian Jones, Houston County Public Works Director, says they didn't make the decision lightly.
Like everything, costs have gone up. And last fiscal year, we actually operated at a $1 million loss.
Jones says they had not raised the water rate since 2006, but they needed to do it to keep operating smoothly.
It's required in order to meet the operation and maintenance of the system, as well as capital improvements to ensure safe and reliable water.
Jones says people might see different increases in their water bills due to the tiered water usage system. That means the more water you use, the more you pay per gallon.
The rates go up at $10,000 and $15,000 from $2 per thousand, $2.50 per thousand, and then $3 per thousand.
The $14 base price covers only your first 10,000 gallons. After that, your rate will keep rising. In Houston County, Elizabeth Hunter, 13 WMAZ News.
Houston County is part of a bigger trend. Water bills climbing all across central Georgia. Perry residents are paying more to keep the lights on and water running. The city approved a 3% across-the-board hike, with some fees rising even higher. The budget raised water and sewer rates by 7% for the average household. That meant monthly bills jumped from about $155 to $165. Also in Perry, the city is considering a new millage rate that will cause an increase in property taxes. Leaders say they want to adopt a millage rate of 12.69 mils, which is a little bit higher. This could make property taxes go up 12%. To put that in perspective, residents with a home worth $125,000 will have to pay $72 in taxes. Leaders are holding a public hearing to hear your opinion. That happens on September the 2nd. That's a Tuesday. It's happening in City Hall. That meeting starts at 6 p.m. Some education news for you. The Houston County School District is planning to open a brand new STEM Academy in August of 2027. It's still 2 years away from the opening, but the district isn't waiting to get students ready. By adding computer science classes in 6 elementary schools, leaders hope kids will see STEM not just as a subject. Naomi Washington shares how this isn't just for future careers, but also a pathway into that new academy.
Getting an early start can only help students get further in the future. This is a 2nd grade class at Lake Joy Primary. They are learning the basics of a growing industry.
The course is called Computer Science, but we are really passionate about the integration of computer science and STEM, and that we feel like the course is most powerful when those two things work together.
Computer science teacher Megan Merrill says her students are exceeding expectations.
Their ability to grasp these skills is much quicker than I thought. They love coming in here. They love that I have what they consider toys, and sometimes they are having so much fun they don't even realize the actual things that they're learning.
District leaders say that's why starting younger makes sense. Today's elementary students are already tech savvy.
These students are very digitally aware. They're coming in knowing how to use an iPad, knowing how to use a computer. And what we thought was, we really need to start earlier, showing them the practical uses of that, not just how to play a game or to watch a video.
Elgin Mayfield, Houston's assistant superintendent of teaching and learning, says their new STEM Academy opening in 2027 will welcome students from across central Georgia. They'll work with partners like technical colleges, hospitals, and of course, Robins Air Force Base.
We don't ever want to make a dead end. We don't ever want to make a course that, like, you take this course in elementary school, but it doesn't go anywhere. It's always, what's your next step along the way?
The district says they're trying to be very strategic about how they roll out the computer science program in every single Houston County elementary school. That way they have enough money for that new STEM Academy. Now, the district did tell us they don't know how much the new academy will actually cost them to build. However, they have picked a construction company, and they've also picked a location. It's going to be built on an empty field on Russell Parkway in Warner Robins, right across from the Flint Energy's office. And we have some election news for you. Houston County has several races coming up as November approaches. One that is turning heads is Perry's race for mayor between incumbent Randall Walker and Chris Smith. Elizabeth Hunter talked with both about why they're running and what they hope to accomplish.
Born and raised, I'm a local through and through.
We moved back to Perry in 2005.
Apart from 7 years in the Army, Chris Smith has lived in Perry his whole life. Randall Walker is from Warner Robins but moved back to Perry, his wife's hometown. Both men qualified to run for mayor.
I knew the moment the paperwork went through. Text messages, emails, phone calls started pouring in. So it's been interesting. It's been off to the races for sure.
You always run like you're 5 points behind. And that's pretty much what we look at. We run really, really hard.
Walker says he is running for re-election because he has more projects to see through.
The council members here and the mayor committed to a very robust strategic planning process about 10 years ago. And so we have continually stayed faithful to that strategic plan.
Smith says he is running because he has not been involved in politics before and can bring a fresh perspective.
My views kind of match what a lot of people have been expressing in regards to their concerns, so maybe I'm gonna give it a shot and see if I can enact the way I feel about Perry onto the decisions that are being made in City Hall.
Walker says his strength as a candidate is that he has been in Perry's government for 16 years as a councilman and now mayor, so he understands the problems. Smith says his strength is that he's an everyday citizen who deals with the same utility bills and traffic concerns as everyone else does. In Perry, Elizabeth Hunter, 13 WMAZ News.
So both candidates have acknowledged that growth is a concern among people in Perry. Walker says he wants to continue growing Perry where it fits with the community's needs. Smith says he wants to find a happy medium between growth and keeping that small town feel. Now, of course, Perry is just one of the mayoral races we'll be covering. Warner Robins Mayor LaRhonda Patrick also has a challenger, Fabian Velasquez. He runs a landscaping company. There's also a mayor's race over in Fort Valley. Incumbent Mayor Jeffrey Lundy has 3 challengers, Andrew Kim, Shakina Reeves, Anthony Clark as well. Early voting in those races starts in October. They all wrap up on November the 4th. And Joe Posey puts on the Mary Elizabeth Memorial Golf Tournament to honor his granddaughter who passed away from leukemia at the age of 11. The tournament, held at Houston Lake Country Club, is marking its 10th year, but Posey has faced personal struggles while trying to organize it this year. Elizabeth Hunter has more on this story that comes straight from the heart.
And she said, "Papa, I want you to do whatever you can do to make sure no other kid has to go through what I've going through. And I said, "Honey, I will."
A decade after her death, Joe Posey is still holding strong to a promise he made.
When I say my prayers at night, I say, "Mary, I hope I'm doing good. Hope I'm doing what you want to," because I want her smiling down at me, giving me the thumbs up.
This year, Posey faced his own battle while preparing for the tournament.
I've gone through my second bout of cancer myself.
Just 8 weeks ago, Posey went through surgery to have his bladder removed after doctors found cancer.
I'm so exhausted when it's over.
Posey says after seeing Mary Elizabeth fight through treatment after treatment at her age, he can fight through his recovery for her.
I think I did get a lot of it from her. She was just the biggest spirit and the bravest person I've ever known.
Posey says they have raised almost $1 million to fight childhood cancer. He hopes to sink a longer putt this year.
We made almost $100,000 last year. We were just a little shy of that, so of course I'd like to at least do that much.
We have probably 190 people participating in the tournament.
Tom Toombs has played in the tournament all 10 years. He says he's seen how it impacts every golfer on the course.
It's been really a reward to get to play with all these people that are helping, will have one cause, one purpose in mind, and that's to help kids.
In Perry, Elizabeth Hunter, 13 WMAZ News.
This tournament is really for such a great cause. It's happening on Monday, September the 1st, with a morning and afternoon session. There's also a silent auction that'll happen. Again, it all happened over at the Houston Lake Country Club. Posey says they'll accept signups until Monday morning. This is a Labor Day. You can sign up by calling Posey at 478-550-7113. That number is at the bottom of your screen, 478-550-7113. And in case you missed it from over the weekend, folks flocked to the Museum of Aviation to celebrate C-130 Appreciation Day. It gave visitors a hands-on look at aviation history and a rare chance to step inside a gunship.
The C-130 aircraft is the longest running production line in the Air Force. They started building them in 1953. The very first production C-130 was delivered to the Air Force at 54. Tail number 533129, the First Lady. And she's still in existence today.
So hundreds of people filled the Century of Flight hangar and they explored the AC-130. They met with former pilots and they enjoyed hands-on exhibits. This aircraft was once headed for the scrapyard before it was rebuilt to train crews on the ground until 2019. Now it lives permanently at the museum.
I think it's been like just really good. Like I got to walk around in an AC-130. That was like my dream, and I was like way younger, and that was like something I really wanted to do.
So next up, the Museum of Aviation is hosting an exhibit commemorating the 80th anniversary of the end of World War II. That will kick off on September the 5th. And a popular pizzeria is officially reopened in Warner Robins. My Father's Place was temporarily closed during the search for new owners. Warner Robins natives Jacob and Jonathan Klein are now taking over. The two brothers have day jobs with the Air Force Base and at the Georgia State Farm Bureau, but they believe this new business venture will allow them to stay connected to their community.
Man, we just want the community to feel welcome every time they come in. We want them to feel like they're a part of our family. If they were here for the grand opening on Saturday, I was working, he was working, his wife was working, my wife was working, my dad was turning tables, our older brother, he was walking around in the pizza costume. He took the pizza costume off and he was getting refills.
So under this new ownership, My Father's Place will have a reduced menu. The items that were cut will be offered in monthly deals or seasonal specials. And if you need to fill up your gas tank ahead of this holiday travel weekend, the new BJ's Wholesale Club gas station in Warner Robins is now open. Drivers can get gas at the new location before the store opens on September the 12th. The store is offering lower gas prices and potential extra savings to any BJ's members, but you don't need to be a member to use the pumps.
They come to this area. There's a lot of need for a large big box store here in Middle Georgia, and I'm proud to be a new member.
You can find them over on Watson Boulevard just before you reach the Publix if you're coming off the interstate. Of course, before we let you go, here's a look at what's happening around the Robins region. If you're looking for a fun workout, you can head on over to Warner Robins for a hip hop aerobics class. It's happening Saturday, August the 30th at Ted Wright Park. Make sure you bring a water bottle and a friend. Class starts at 9 in the morning. And summer is coming to an end. This is your last weekend to enjoy Rigby's Water World. They'll be open Saturday, August 30th from 10 in the morning until 6 p.m. All this information on your screen right now. Sunday, August 31st from 12 p.m., so noon, until 6. Your last day to take a splash will be Monday, September 1st from 11 in the morning until 6 p.m. And over in Perry, you can catch a showing of Moana at the city's fall film series. It's happening in the lawn of the Perry Event Center. Sing along with them Friday, September 5th from 6 to 9 p.m. It is free. Just bring your blankets and lawn chair. Plus, the International City Experience is coming back for a second year. We're looking at video from the festival last year. You can enjoy this year's fun-filled event Saturday, September the 6th from 11 to 6. Enjoy over 20 vendors and nearly a dozen food trucks bringing diverse cultural food and dance performances that represent many backgrounds. It's all happening over at Perkins Field. And of course, don't forget that Labor Day is Monday, September 1st. All essential offices in the county and cities will be closed. You can enjoy your 3-day weekend. Alrighty, that's a wrap on what's happening throughout the Robins region this week. If you have a Houston County story you want to share with us, email us at news@13wmaz.com and make sure you come back each and every Friday to get all of the Houston County news and the stories that matter. Thanks for joining us.